Hello everybody, how are you doing okay? Now I haven't done a new shoe review for a while. That's because I hadn't actually bought any new shoes during January, but I've now got this one, which is the Nike ZoomX Invincible Run Flyknit. I think everyone's just going to call it the Invincible, aren't they? So let's just stick to that. Anyway, I thought I'd just summarise what I found. I've been out for a half marathon in them today, and these are my initial thoughts. So on the positive side, I found them extremely plush, extremely comfortable, and extremely soft. They also had a very good lockdown across the midfoot here for my rather narrow foot. And then haven't had to pull in the laces too much, but they do get wider at the front. So in terms of the fit, that was great. On the negative side, well, they are extremely heavy, 380 grams in my UK 13, which makes them somewhat heavier than even the Pegasus 37 and 40 grams heavier than the Nova Blast. I also find them almost a bit too soft, a bit of a feeling of sinking in them. And because they're so heavy, especially when you're going uphill, I felt like it was quite an effort. Another problem I found with the Invincible, when I was running along, even it was a very slight camber, say even on a pavement or just on the side of the road, that I could really feel like exaggerated sort of feeling a bit unstable. I think it's actually bizarrely because this heel is so big that even though it's got like a little clip round the back here, it just felt like it was wanting to sort of like stay at an angle when I was on a camber. So it was kind of a strange feeling in a way. I mean, I think it's certainly a shoe that it felt a lot more comfortable when you found a bit of a flatter bit of road. So just to illustrate how wide these Invincibles are, they've got the Invincibles here on the left and the Nike Next Percents on the right. Just see how much narrower the Next Percents is at the heel. Which is actually a fairly similar width at the widest part, but just that heel, just so big. It's really absolutely crazy. I've never seen anything like it. Let me show you now thoughts on my run, and then we'll come back later on. Hi, so I've come outside to do my first run in the Nike Invincible. I forget the exact full name of it, but I think everyone's just going to call it the Invincible, aren't they? So feeling on foot is good actually. There's a huge base to them I can see, but the lockdown's really good across the midfoot, and I've got such a narrow foot, so that's a really good sign. So say the Infinity Rack, that wasn't a good lockdown at all, so instantly I'm thinking this is good. They feel incredibly soft just walking down the road here. So I presume that's all the ZoomX. So the run today is approximately an hour and a half, an hour as I feel, and then I'm going to see if I can pick up the pace for the last half an hour. So I'll see if I can pick a circuit where the last half an hour is basically back home. I should just about do it before it gets dark. Right, let's get going and see you later. Okay, we're 7 miles into this Invincible run. So, summarising these Invincibles, the good things, I'd say very comfy, very soft. The bad things, they're so heavy. I feel like every stride is an effort to get my foot over the ground. 380 grams, I mentioned them in my UK 13. They're also so soft that you feel like you're sinking a bit. So I've done about an hour now, so I've got to start my half an hour sort of harder section. So you might say I'm criticising them, but I think I remember what they're for, which I think is a max cushion soaking up the miles shoe when you don't want to go overly fast. And for that, not too bad. Another negative point is that I feel like the heel is so wide. Every time I run on a camber, I'm sort of struggling a bit to keep stable. So some say the wideness helps. Anyway, for me, I'm actually finding a bit of a hindrance. But let's see if I pick up the pace a bit when I get to the top of this hill. It's pretty better. And it's starting to rain now, or drizzle a bit, so not exactly the nicest of the weather. But yeah, gonna get done. So 10 minutes into running a bit harder. It's a bit hilly this bit, but at 7:30 pace. Got a bit better at this pace. A bit slippy on the slightly wet ground. Especially uphill, you feel like sliding back a bit actually. So despite all that rubber on the sole, maybe need a bit of bedding in. We're just getting used to it. Anyway, I'll crack on back home
and chat to you later.
So I got rather a soaking end of my run today, but the last half an hour wasn't too bad. I picked up to about 7:30 pace. It was slightly down the hill at the end, but I could feel that at least I was able to get a bit of speed up in the legs. I did find it, as I said, mentioned in the video, slightly tricky uphill, and I felt I was actually slipping a bit when it was getting a bit wet on the uphills. It was almost like, I was sort of putting one foot forward and feel like I was inching back a bit slightly, that sort of feeling. I think what they've done with the outsole is that they've used that as some stability with the ZoomX. I think if you didn't have this black rubber there, that the ZoomX would just be too sort of soft and squidgy. So it's almost like a bit of like a pseudo plate in a way, but maybe it's not the best shoe for wet weather, and I did find it a bit unstable through corners, but then for an everyday shoe, well, how fast do you really need to take a corner? So in summary, what do I make of this shoe? Well, I think just with the fact it's ZoomX in it, you have to realise that this is not a fast shoe. This is definitely a max cushion shoe for soaking up your daily miles. And I think for that, it does pretty well. I think also the fact if you do quite a lot of your miles in this, when you come to putting like your race shoes, like your Next Percents or some of the other carbon racers, I think you get that real lift from having a lighter shoe. I think that's maybe how I'll use it going forward. So on the days when I just want to get out and do a few aerobic miles, this would be an ideal shoe to put on. And I think in that sense, it's quite similar to what I was using the Nova Blast for. And I think, if anything, I think this is even softer than the Nova Blast. I do much prefer, though, this to the Pegasus 37, which is the only other really everyday shoe I've got from Nike. I skipped the Miler, I skipped the Vomero 15. I got the first Infinity React version on sale, but I didn't bother to get the Infinity React 2 because I think I was really holding out for this. I decided I didn't need to have both shoes. So I think this will definitely see a place in my rotation, and it'll probably be a toss-up between this and the Nova Blast, what I take out for my easier days. And maybe also those long runs like today when the pace isn't necessarily the order of the day, just to soaking up the miles and wanting to have some comfort, and maybe an element of building up a bit of leg strength in the legs by having a heavier shoe. So I think often a key thing with like long runs and recovery runs is you want a shoe that to soak up those miles and be refreshed the next day. And I think in that sense, this shoe is going to be a definite winner. If you think this is going to be a cheaper alternative to the Next Percent or the Alpha Fly or some sort of tempo shoe, I think you'd be very disappointed. But I think Nike have got winner here, but you do really need to understand what this shoe is for. And it's certainly not your fastest days. Well, not my fastest days anyway. So I hope you found this interesting, and look forward to seeing the next one then. Bye.